Hello there, Star Wars fans. Today I want to talk about the death of Darth Plagueis, why Palpatine did it, how he did it, and just how cold it all was, basically from Palpatine's perspective. It's an interesting story, and it's going to cap off our coverage of the Darth Plagueis novel. I might make a video putting them all together, or a playlist, but basically, thank you all for watching these videos. This novel, I highly recommend it. It's outstanding. Check it out for yourself, but before we get into today's video, please do leave a like and subscribe. The support in recent days has been amazing. I truly thank you all so much. Streaming has been really fun on this channel, and I look forward to doing much more of it. Alright, let's get into today's video. Darth Plagueis, the master to Darth Sidious, and the plan originally, in Plagueis' eyes, was for both of them to lead the Republic together, which they would turn, of course, into an empire. Plagueis spent his entire time training Palpatine, planning basically exactly how the two of them would lead as co-chancellors. In his mind, Palpatine would lead the political side of things, with Plagueis helping in the shadows. So, he perfectly molded Palpatine to become this powerful figure in the eye of the public and in private. And Palpatine played the part of the apprentice so perfectly, played the part like he really wanted to do this. And while reading the Plagueis novel, it almost seemed like Palpatine was out of character at times, with how much he was obeying Plagueis and treating him like a friend rather than being the evil, conniving person we see in the movies. Of course, that was him just manipulating Plagueis the entire time. It was all a manipulation tactic. Palpatine spent decades convincing Plagueis that he could be trusted. So, Plagueis would eventually tell Palpatine every single secret of the Sith. And once he did, he was completely useless to Palpatine. Palpatine didn't want to share his power. He never did. Not with Plagueis, not with Dooku, Maul, even Vader. He wanted it for himself. He wanted to be the Emperor, with people underneath him to help enforce, but he was always going to be the one. So, one evening on Coruscant, after learning everything he needed to know about the Sith, and that basically everything was in place for Palpatine to become the Chancellor, he intentionally got Plagueis drunk off wine in celebration. Here's an excerpt from the Plagueis novel describing the moment Palpatine knew it was time to kill him. A few meters distant, Sidious came to a halt, gazing up at Plagueis for a long moment, as though making up his mind about something. Then, blowing out his breath, he set his own glass down, reached for the cloak he had draped over a chair. He swirled it around himself, and then he started for the door, only to stop shortly before he actually reached it. Turning and stretching out with the Force, he glanced around the room, as one might to fix a memory in the mind. Briefly, his gaze fell on the droid, its glowing, whirring to regard him in evident curiosity, and then a sinister look contorted Sidious's face. Again, his eyes darted around the room, and the dark side whispered to him, "Your election as Chancellor assured. Guards absent. Plagueis now unsuspected and asleep. It was time." And he moved in a final blur. Crackling from his fingertips, a web of blue lightning ground itself on the Mun's breathing device. So, that's him deciding in one swift, dark side moment, decided that it was time. It was not a rash decision, though. The book almost makes it sound like, hey, this is where Palpatine decided it was time, but in reality, this moment was, I don't want to say exactly planned, but he always planned on killing Plagueis. He didn't just suddenly decide to do it. He simply had no need for him anymore, the way of the Sith. After manipulating him to tell Palpatine everything he knew, Palpatine was able to discard of him. He always wanted to do this, and the perfect time had come. Here's another excerpt where Palpatine explains why he's doing this. Sidious sighed. "A tragedy, really, for one so wise, one who could oversee the lives and deaths of all beings, except himself," Palpatine said to Plagueis, and the Mun's eyes had begun to bulge, his pale flesh turning cyan. "You may be wondering, when did he begin to change?" Palpatine said. "The truth is that I haven't changed. As we have clouded the minds of the Jedi, I clouded yours. Never once did I have any intention of sharing my power with you. I needed to learn from you. No more, no less. To learn all of your secrets, which I trusted you would eventually reveal. But what made you think that I would need you after that? Vanity, perhaps? Your sense of self-importance? You've been nothing more than a pawn in a game played by a genuine master. The Sith. And a cruel laugh escaped him. I might not have been able to take the final steps to the Chancellorship without your help in manipulating the Senate and bringing into play your various allies. If it's any consolation, I'm being honest when I say that I could not have succeeded without you. But now that we've won the race, I've no need for a co-chancellor. Your presence, much less your unnecessary counsel, would only confuse matters. I have Maul to do what the risk of discovery might not allow me to do, while I execute the rest of the grand plan. Growing an army, fomenting rebellion, and fabricating intergalactic war, corralling the Jedi, and catching them unaware. Rest easy in your grave, Plagueis. In the end, I will be proclaimed Emperor. The Sith will have had their revenge, and I will rule the galaxy. Plagueis slid to the floor and rolled face down. Death rattled his lungs, and he died. So that's the true tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. He made the mistake, as so many of others around the galaxy did, of trusting Palpatine. Like so many before and after, Palpatine expertly manipulated them to get exactly what he wanted. Palpatine killed him because he'd become useless, and he did it by electrocuting his breathing mask, choking him, as he'd become far superior to Plagueis in the end. That's the story, basically the main reason why he did it. Let me know if you enjoyed this Plagueis content. Let me know if there's a certain Sith that you want to know a lot more on. I just recently got some new books, so I'm going to be reading those. I got the Thrawn trilogy, not the Heir to the Empire. Read that one recently, very good. But the Thrawn trilogy in the middle of the original trilogy, basically. I got the Bane trilogy, gonna read that. I got Secrets of the Sith, I just have a lot of books, man. Anyways, see you later. I love covering the books. It's awesome. It's so much fun. And yeah, thank you all for listening to the videos. The support means far more than you will ever know. Thank you. Truly. I will see you in the next video.